Religious intolerance. Let's start with the smouldering elephant in the room. If Mary I is famous for anything, it is for her hobby of burning Protestants. As a Roman Catholic, she despised the changes that had been made to her country by her half-brother, Edward VI, and his Archbishop of Canterbury lackey, Thomas Cranmer. She could not wait to reverse the 42 Articles and restore papal authority in England. Thomas Cranmer, who had also been the man to finalise the end of her parents' marriage in 1533, would find himself on the wrong end of some fiery faggots in 1556. Now, let's be clear. Bloody Mary did not rage-quit the lives of over 280 Protestants. Heresy had deadly consequences in Tudor England, which was understood. She offered options: turn to the true faith, leave England and find sanctuary in Protestant Europe, or burn. Those who fled to Europe, estimated to be around 800 in number, would patiently await the accession of Elizabeth I, who they believed would complete the good work started by Edward VI. No pressure there, Liz. To be fair, a large swathe of England was more than happy to see the bling back in their parish church. The country had been Roman Catholic for centuries, so the Protestant Reformation of the 1540s and early 1550s could be seen as an aberration. Credit where it is due, Mary I was not blind to the complaints that had turned people against the true church in the first place. She set about improving the training of priests, establishing new training colleges in Oxford and Cambridge. She also made the wise choice not to try to restore the monasteries destroyed by her father. It is so easy to buy into the Bloody Mary fiction, but I would recommend Googling the story John Fox's Book of Martyrs. Sit back with a tomato juice-based cocktail and explore how this one book did so much to damage the reputation of Mary I. He was a 16th century quill and ink warrior and a Protestant troll. Foreign affairs. Never underestimate the power of the patriarchy in 16th century Europe. In my opinion, Matilda was the first Queen of England. Lady of the English? Whatever. But, to keep the narrative simple, let's pretend that Mary I was the first female ruler of England, ever. In a man's world, it was wise to make a good marriage. This she did by marrying her cousin, Philip of Spain. He was her toy boy, she was his cougar. They never had an heir, which did severely compromise any long-term plans she may have had for England. The Privy Council were rightly worried that England may become a satellite state of the mighty Habsburg Empire, so put constraints in place. One such was informing Philip that he could not drag England into his wars against France. Q 1557. Philip drags England into his wars against France. It started well enough, but national pride was severely dented when Calais was returned to the French after nearly 2 centuries of English rule. An expensive outpost to administer, and a dinosaur from a bygone era of conquest and trade, the loss of Calais was a matter of pride, rather than practicality. Whether Mary I had the body modification to her heart, which she claimed to have, is questionable, but imagine if she had. Go west, young man, as Mary I told many English settlers to do. Their destination? Ireland, to be sure. She supported colonisation schemes known as plantations. English emigrants made their homes within the Pale and the counties of Laois and Offaly. Surprisingly, the Gaelic lords and many native Irish people were less than Making England stronger. Henry VIII loved warfare, even if the results were mixed. In an attempt to ensure that England would be hard to attack, he had made improvements to sea defences, the navy, and local militias. His eldest daughter took this one step further. She wanted to make sure that England was always ready for war. So 6 old warships were renovated and 6 new warships were built. Under the watchful eye of the Treasurer of the Navy, Benjamin Gonson, and the Navy Board, dockyards were improved, stock-taking took place at supply depots, and the experience of sailors became more consistent. Elizabeth I would benefit from these reforms, especially in 1588, when her ex-brother-in-law, Philip of Spain, launched an armada. Soldiers were also to be better prepared. Justices of the peace became responsible for maintaining local militias, while the wealthy were expected to provide equipment for the men in their area. Muster rolls, registers, were kept up to date, and all soldiers were to be trained to use their weapons correctly. England was now in a permanent state of readiness, thanks to Mary I. You go, girl. Social issues. Ruling England in the mid-1550s was not easy. Mary I had to deal with a myriad of problems inherited from her father and half-brother. The devaluation of the currency, rural poverty caused by enclosure, and buck-wild inflation. To run a successful country, a monarch needs money, especially when subsidising a war being fought by your husband. Mary I tries to reverse the mistakes made by the men in her life by increasing royal rents, resulting in a boost in income of £40,000 per year, and issuing the revised Book of Rates in 1558, essentially updating VAT, which hadn't been looked at since 1507. Credit for coinage reforms tends to go to Elizabeth I, but it was her half-sister who originally proposed them in 1553. However, she could not stop 3 consecutive years of failed harvests and had no way of preventing the COVID-19 of her reign, influenza. Thousands died from starvation and disease. To put it bluntly, England was not on anybody's bucket list in terms of holiday destinations in 1558. She tried to help the poorest in society. After her father had dissolved all the monasteries, there was little provision for the neediest. She worked with the Privy Council to put anti-hoarding measures in place. Some people were determined to profit from the pain of others. Not much changes, does it? She was also known to don a disguise and visit families in need with food parcels. Not so bloody Mary now, is she? Summary. On the 17th of November 1558, Elizabeth I became Queen of England, France and Ireland. Queen's Day, as it was known, was celebrated as a national holiday for 300 years. People in England hoped that the new Queen would end the persecution of Protestants and ease the suffering that many had endured through no fault of their own. Or Mary I's. Mary I tried, with some success, to redress the financial mismanagement of her father and half-brother. She also left England in a strong position militarily, something which Elizabeth I would capitalise upon during her reign. The story of an evil queen and a good queen makes for easy telling and box office busting Disney movies. But history is never that simple. Mary I deserves deeper exploration and a better understanding, both as a leader and a woman. I hope this video has helped you to understand the legacy of Mary I. Thank you for tanking. I really do appreciate it.